Beautiful!
What's up guys, C-Stick down here. Just before the video starts, I wanted to make a little disclaimer. This video is by far the most I've had to work on a video, not to mention the first video I actually edited myself. So it would mean a lot to me if you guys were to drop a like and subscribe because, well, funny YouTube number makes brain happy. And with that, please enjoy the video. Hello and welcome to the best Wario guide out there. To keep this guide from being an hour long, these sections will be fairly simple and easy to follow along. With that, let's get into how to play Wario. The stuff we will be talking about include neutral, disadvantage, and advantage. There will also be a section where we learn about Wario's combos, the most optimal routes for them, and how to perform them. To end things off, there will also be a section on how to use all of Wario's moves. So buckle up, because there's going to be a lot of things that you have to know to learn how to play Wario. Wario's neutral is up first, and there is a lot to talk about. Quite predictably, his neutral is by far his most overlooked upon and asked upon attribute. This is because people learn that, oh, Wario has a good combo game and a good advantage, he's probably for me. Then they go into training mode, practice his combos first, and then they don't actually know how to get the combo started in game because they don't know how to play his neutral. Put it simply, Wario is bait and punish. You bait them into doing a move or an air dodge, or even bait them into doing something smaller like drifting in when airborne and punishing it hard. See here how I get hit by Inkling up smash after trying to chomp their shield, and then later on in the game, I punish it hard with a tomahawk waft right on their up smash. And yes, while that's a good example, that's advantage state. You have to learn how to get things in neutral. So, how do you do that? Well, most top Warios like getting their neutral wins off of Wario's great air mobility and movement. Wario is amazing at catching shields with his great grab and chomp, as well as punishing people hard when they make a mistake. And you have to realize, just because you have a strong advantage and good with punish game does not mean you're invincible. Wario still doesn't have the best range. Wario's ability to approach is not good. He does not have a lot of range and his run speed is lacking. So with all of these weaknesses, how do Wario players expect to win? Well, put it simply, they can't. When Wario camps, it reduces his weakness in neutral by a considerable amount. This is all thanks to Waft. If they camp you back, you get a strong Waft. If they approach you, they have to deal with the risk of Wario's amazing punish game. Now, I cannot stress this enough, but if you don't have Waft, you should not be approaching as Wario, unless you're obviously goofing around. Now, you might be asking, okay, well, what if I have a strong Waft and I'm losing? Well, then what you do is you do what I like to call semi-approach. You get right outside their burst range so you can react to whatever they do and they can react to whatever you do. Make sure not to be too overcommittal though. And now obviously you can't play defensive forever and you can't just stay in one spot the whole match and see what they're gonna do. You can see Tweak utilizing Wario's movement still while being at a disadvantage. Another question that pops up is what if the other character has better camping than me, for example Steve or let's say Hero. For these matchups, you do have to approach, but stay right outside of their burst range like we talked about earlier. Now, a little trick we see Tweak do is whenever him and his opponent are literally not trying to play the game, he throws out Bike in between them. And this is a good strategy because if you get them in disadvantage, then you have a Bike to throw at them. He also kind of uses Bike as a wall, if that makes sense. You know, nobody can really pass this. And keep in mind, Tweak knows that he's doing this with the risk that if he gets knocked off stage, he doesn't have a Bike. He knows that Sonics is not going to want to edgeguard him. Tweak even goes to further length to throw the Bike more towards center stage to gain more stage control, as he sees how Sonics is respecting him and not wanting to engage. However, do note in some other matchups like the Fox matchup, the Greninja matchup, because they're more up and in your face, you would rather not want Bike in the middle of the stage. Now that you know that you shouldn't try to approach all the time because of Wario's poor ground movement and lack of range, what do you do exactly when Wario gets hit? When talking about Wario's disadvantage, there's not really too much to say except for don't get hit. However, for Wario, there's some tips and tricks that he can use to get out of this advantage sometimes, and that's what we're going to be talking about in this segment. Now, to talk about this advantage, we first have to talk about Bike. Bike gives Wario the ability to recover on pretty much any side of the stage. However, there's some matchups where you'd really rather not use Bike to recover. In matchups like the Steve matchup, where he doesn't really go for too much edge guards and they have bad movement, and they also can outcamp you, using Bike in neutral is good. Now keep in mind, when I'm saying using Bike in neutral is good, I'm not saying that riding the Bike in neutral is good. One of the only good uses for Bike on stage when you're riding it is on a platform. If you're catching somebody using projectile a lot, you can Bike on the platform into them. However, in matchups like the Diddy matchup, you'd probably want the Bike in between the two characters in the first place. In other matchups like the Snake matchup, going high with Bike is much better, because dealing with Snake's lead trapping could be a pain, and attempting to use your air mobility to land is much more feasible. Something to keep in mind when you're recovering is, if you feel like your opponent's being too aggressive at ledge, is you could hold down right before the up B snaps to ledge and you can swat them away or put them off stage. Using Wario's Bike and good air mobility to your advantage, you should be able to get out of this advantage with relative ease with Wario on a few good reads and what your opponent is trying to call out. And now it's time to talk about Wario's big guns, his advantage state.
Wow! My goodness,
Wario has a ton going for him in terms of advantage state. He has a lot of high damaging combos and moves, as well as good lead traps and edge guarding, which I will talk about all in great detail. However, before you master anything else I showed off earlier in the video, you're going to want to master up throw up air first. Now this is because, what's the point of having a good combo game with attacking moves if your opponent isn't scared to shield at all? You have to maximize your grab combos first before you learn anything else with Wario. And with that, we should be good to go on to his combos, right?
no.
We first have to learn how to do Wario's Nair 1 into Nair 2. Now I won't go into how to do Nair 1, Nair 2 too much because Reflex already made a video on it, which I'll link in the description if you want to go see it. However, I will go into what it looks like on different characters. On a character like Pyra, Nair 1, Nair 2 is pretty hard to pull off because she's a floaty character and her body stays stiff when she gets hit. With a few bits of extra percent, you should be able to get it though. And keep in mind, you might have to delay the fast fall when you do Nair 1, Nair 2 when you're fighting other floaty characters. Now here comes one of the most asked upon questions when it comes to Wario's Nair 1, Nair 2. What is the most optimal combo route? And another question that commonly comes along with the first one. Does DI matter for what I should follow up with? And yet another question that's commonly asked, does it matter if I have a full loft, no loft, half loft, etc.? Excluding some very specific scenarios, it should be almost always optimal to go for up air after Nair. And this is because up air can combo into pretty much all of Wario's kit. It can combo into another up air, a Nair, and a back air. With all of these, the most common and the most easy is Nair 1, Nair 2 into double up air. These are the inputs for this combo. Nair 1, Nair 2, as we discussed before, into short hop, wait a bit, fast fall up air, then finishing it off with a short hop up air. If you're still having trouble pulling off this combo, just remember to troubleshoot a little bit. If the last up air doesn't hit, that means you did the first up air way too early. And if the first up air doesn't hit, that means you're doing it too late. This same logic applies to trying to do triple up air, so use that if you can. And just remember, up air isn't always optimal. If you hit a Nair 1, Nair 2 on a flatter stage like FD, you might be able to hit the Nairo Killer, which I just showed off. Alright, so that's it for Wario's advantage, correct? Nope, we still have his edge guarding and lead trapping to go through, so let's get into that. Now, one of the most important things about Wario's advantage state is to realize where to send them during your combo. You could either send them up with an up air finisher, or you can send them to the side with a back air or chomp finisher. Now here's where you have to use your noggin. Do you want to send them off stage to go for an edge guard, or do you want to keep them on stage for a juggle? This depends on character and simply what you're good at. Now let's say you're in a scenario where you have a big lead. Well, then you're going to want to set up for a lead trap to not go for an edge guard because that'd be too risky. You're going to want to learn to lead trap with the bike. Having the bike at ledge for a lead trap is absolutely broken. It makes Wario's lead trapping go from really good to absolutely godlike. Now, this is because it can cover many options all at once without Wario having to take any risk. So it throws the bike off stage right around that position. That covers a lot of options. That covers jump get up and ledge wait. Wario himself is there to cover maybe a little bit of neutral get up, you know, the parts that bike isn't covering, and roll with his great up tilt. Also, in terms of jump get up, don't worry, bike's got you covered on that one. Another good lead trap with the bike is throwing the bike right around here. Now this is good because it also covers multiple options. Wario's there to cover roll, the bike covers neutral get up sometimes, jump get up almost all the time, get up attack almost all the time, and you can even cover ledge weight if you do it correctly. However, in most scenarios, you're probably going to want to use the tilt throw version because it covers more options. Now let's say WarioWare has a decrease in sales lately and Wario can't buy the gas he needs for his bike. Good thing for Wario, he could still cover other options with his Chomp. Even though Chomp doesn't cover roll, get up attack, and sometimes drop down ledge aerial, because of Chomp's low ending lag, Wario can still shield or dash away to cover those options. If you don't have a bike at the time, you mostly just want to stand at roll distance for ledge trapping. When you're standing at roll distance, you can easily cover roll with up tilt. You can cover jump with a quick back air. And Wario can also cover drop down ledge aerial with a quick shield into nair punish or a simple dash attack. Also, just another quick reminder, if you have time and they're trying to recover, just really quick, jump from the stage, bike, and you have a free lead trap. It's amazingly good. Speaking of what you do when your opponent is trying to recover, what if you want to 2-frame them? Well, Wario's best 2-frame is his F-tilt or back air. Back air is kind of difficult to 2-frame people with, but it still very easily catches every single ledge hang in the game, and it kills really early, so keep note of that. As for Wario's edge guarding, well, it's pretty simple, mostly like any other characters. Wario's fair and back air is probably his best edge guarding tools because fair comes out quick and stays out for long, and bair is really strong. Now that you know about Wario's disadvantage, advantage, and neutral, you're going to want to know about every single one of his moves, what they do, and in what situations you want to use them. In this segment, I'm going to be talking about every single one of Wario's moves, how to pull them off, what they do, and in which scenarios they're best in. So without further ado, let's get straight into this segment. Alright, starting with jab. Now this move is shit. It doesn't really do anything. Its only purpose is getting people onto platforms at low percent, I guess. Then again, Wario has other moves for that. Next up is dash attack. Now dash attack is a really solid kill move with combos out of down tilt, which we'll talk about into the down tilt section. Another good use for dash attack is you can catch landings with it pretty consistently. Because it kills early, it's a pretty good way to catch landings against people who are landing aggressively. And yeah, it's just a really strong, really quick, good kill move. It's good at whiff punishing, and it does have a weak hit, but it doesn't really do much. It's more of a saving grace for when you miss the strong hit. Speaking of down tilt dash attack, here's down tilt. Now, as I said before, you can do down tilt dash attack by doing down tilt and then instant dash attack, which is done by performing down tilt and then C-stick forward and the forward direction at the same time. Also, down tilt is a good combo to grab if they're expecting a dash attack. And yeah, down tilt just kind of a good poke. Down tilt should be your replacement move for jab in some ways. It does a lot of the things that Roy Jab does, losing the aerial coverage and the range. Down tilt, along with fair, is one of Wario's only really good pokes. Down tilt is also one of Wario's fastest moves on the ground, so if you're looking for a fast move, there you go. Next up is the infamous F-tilt. F-tilt is an amazing attack. It has good 2-framing potential when angled down due to its duration, and it kills amazingly well. F-tilt is also Wario's most ranged attack on the ground, horizontally, not counting bike of course. Another neat thing about F-tilt is its shield safety is absurd. It pushes people's shields back really far surprisingly, and not even Cloud Uppy can punish this thing when it's spaced correctly. To end off the tilt section, here's how to use Wario's up tilt. It's great at anti-airing and has a lot of combo potential. You can combo the up air and air, another up tilt, back air, chomp, and more. It's also good as a lead trap to catch rolls, neutral get ups, and even jumps if you time it correctly. Also, Wario can still pull off the up tilt full waft. Watch my video on how to do it, the link's in the description. Wario's up tilt can also be used to extend combos as seen here. Alright, moving on to smash attacks. Now here comes Wario's best move by far, down smash. Down smash is amazing because it, okay no. So, down smash is really shit. It has very poor safety on shield, it doesn't send anywhere, it barely kills, you shouldn't really use it. Its only use is lead trapping when they're at high percent-ish, and it's used to catch like neutral get-ups if you don't want to chomp, or lead jumps, I guess. It's not too good. I wouldn't recommend using down smash. Unless it's for memes. If it's for memes, please do. Another one of Wario's smash attacks, F smash, is not nearly as bad as down smash, but it still isn't that good. It has a lot of lag, and it doesn't really have a lot of, uses. And I guess it can be used to hard whiff punish things, or shield break people, or punish shield breaks, but that's really it. To end off Wario's smash attack, here comes his best smash attack, honestly by far, up smash. Up smash makes Wario's head intangible just like Mario's up smash. It's obviously a little bit worse because of its lag and its weaker hitbox. It's still definitely Wario's best smash attack, it's just not that good. It can be used to catch landings due to his invincible head, but it's still not the greatest. You could just up tilt, I guess if you were that thirsty for a kill, then sure, but yeah. Also, its weak hitbox is atrocious, just as you saw. If you want to go for a kill with it, please go for the back hit instead of the front hit. Alright, starting us off with Wario's aerials, here is his down air. So Wario's down air is actually really good. It has some high percent landing combos, and I'll post the link of that chart in the description because it works on some characters and it doesn't work on others, and there's different follow-ups, etc, etc. Now, Wario's down air is mostly used for edge guarding, not really used for its landing combos. Its multi-hit glory and the strong hit afterwards is really good, and I'd recommend using it a lot. Alright, next up, Wario's Fair. Wario's Fair is by far one of his best moves. It comes out fast, being frame 5, it could combo into stuff like Nair, Grab, and Dash Attack if it's performed while landing, and it's one of Wario's good poking tools, along with down tilt. Wario's Fair can also set up for some good gimp situations due to his low angle that it sends at, and generally fast frame damage. Wario's Fair is also good as an out of shield option when you think Nair won't have the range to cut it. Fair is also a good move to cut out jumps in neutral if you don't have time for a back air. Speaking of, next up is Wario back air. His back air is one of my favorite moves. It's just really good. It has the whole package you want in a kill move. You can auto cancel, it's really strong, and most importantly, you can catch jumps with it if you do rising back air, or you can just straight up hit people with it with falling back air. And again, this thing kills like hell. It's like amazing. Also, if you do it falling to the ledge, it can 2-frame or just catch ledge hangs, which is what I like to use it for. Wario back air is also a good edge guarding tool, as well as a good tool for when you're at the ledge against your opponent. Next up is Nair. Nair is definitely up there with Wario's best moves. It comes out fast, it's really good out of shield along with up B, and it's just plain out good. It can combo Nair 1 into Nair 2, as you see. The Nair 2 is quite small, so you're going to have to get good with the timing. And also some other practicalities for Nair is you can combo off of it if falling, as you see here. And note that you can also get other things. There's not just grab, you can get Nair into another Nair, like Throw Hop Rising Nair, and more. You could also edge guard with Nair, although it's not seen that often, and right there you could probably just back aid. And while I show off Nair 2's atrocious hitbox, I'm going to be talking about some other practicalities for Nair. So Nair is generally just a good get off me tool. If you feel like you're being pressured a lot, whip one of those out, but obviously don't get too predictable or else you will be punished. Nair also has little to no end lag when you're falling with it, so just if you feel like they're gonna rush in at some point, like with an attempt of an overextension, then you have no reason not to throw it out unless they legitimately run up shield, run up parry. Keep in mind, Nair can also combo into waft, but you'd probably just want to do Nair up air waft because they can still heavily DI the Nair 2 in, out, down, up, etc. However, in situations where Nair up air waft won't connect, definitely go for Nair into waft. It's still a reliable combo if you can read their DI. Next up is Wario's up air. Now, up air is a pretty straightforward move. It's kind of just hit the guy that's above you. His hands are intangible during the move, and also it can be used in combos, as you already know. Something that's kind of unknown is it's very safe on shield as well. But I wouldn't recommend using it too much, as you could kind of just chomp if you're gonna read their shield. A good use for this is to up air their shield, shield their incoming punish, and then punish their punish, if that makes any sense. Another use for up air is to throw it out for baits. If you think they're going to try to punish you, or if you want them to try to approach, throw out a couple up airs on neutral, and then if they're going to think you're going to do another one, or if they just want to punish the ending lag on the up air, and then you either avoid that rush in or catch them right before they rush in, and then you get your damage. Up air, as you know, also has its combos. You could do up air into double up tilt, up air into down smash, which is hilarious, even though you should never go for that. You could do up air in pretty much everything you want. And don't worry, I'll talk about up air more in the waft section. Alright, for grabs and throws, I'm just going to do a quick speed round. Down throw sends in a weird angle, does more damage than back throw, which is good. And you could combo it into back air if you read their jump. This isn't that reliable, however. Back throw is also pretty mediocre as well. It has its uses in doubles and fighting Ice Climbers and Rosalina and Luma to try to knock back their partner. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Otherwise, just use down throw if you want damage, and use back throw if you want knockback. Alright, time for F throw. F throw is pretty much just chomp if it was a little worse. It does more damage than it if they mash fast out of the chomp, but that's pretty much it. If you don't want to stale your chomp so you could get the kill for it, that's when I would use it. Alright, time for up throw. Up throw is your main combo throw. It combos into up air and also, I guess, Nair, but you shouldn't really be going for Nair because it's difficult to get the Nair 2 afterwards, and it's straight up difficult to get the Nair. If you're having trouble doing up throw up air, it's because you aren't aiming for the tip of the clap and you just gotta do it faster. Also, double jumping after the up throw up air could help at higher percents, but usually from 0 to 10, you're gonna do just full hop up air. Alright, next up, Wario's up B. Up B is Wario's fastest out of shield option coming out at frame 6. It should only be used when you think Nair's not going to cut it and they're just going to pancake under the Nair or fair. Wario's up B also reaches the top platform of the battlefield when you do it right under. Up B is also a good combo finisher at times. If you do it correctly, they can get sent off stage in perfect position for an edge guard. And you should already know about the up B from Ledge Trick from earlier, but here it is. You could kind of just shark people being too aggressive at ledge. And that's up B. Alright, next up is a fan favorite, Chomp. Chomp is just a really solid command grab. It comes out fast, it does good damage, and it's just good. The way you mash fast with it is by mashing grab, attack, and special at the same time. Using Chomp at ledge is really good. When you catch their shield with the first chomp at ledge, they're going to want to start jumping or rolling out of disadvantage, and you can cover that. And also, landing on people's shield with chomp is really good, because most people are expecting an aerial from Wario, and if you just throw them with a command grab while they try to shield it, it's really good. Along with up B, chomp is also a really good combo ender. It sends off stage and it's more consistent than up B. And as we talked about, Wario's chomp at ledge is a really good option to cover most options. And also, you can B-reverse it in the air for some good momentum mix-ups if you already have a bike and can't do the bike look. The bike look is something we're going to talk about in the next section. If you don't know about it, don't get too anxious yet. Speaking of, here's bike. Now, bike is one of my favorite Wario moves. It has to be definitely in the top 3. It's just very good. I can make a whole video about bike if I wanted to. Riding bike, at least in neutral, isn't really a good idea. Setting up the bike and throwing it is how most people use it. When you don't have a bike, you can do the bike look. The bike look is a good movement technique for when you're in the air. If you B-reverse it in the air, then you could shift your momentum a little bit. If you want to set up a bike on stage, just really quickly jump off the stage, bike towards the stage, and jump off immediately. Alright, so bike actually has some low percent combos, starting off with the tilt throws, and getting onto the smash up throws, and even smash forward throws. But you're not going to see smash forward throws much. The actual good implications for bike are found in the lead trapping area, so if you've missed out on that part, make sure to go watch it. I've also talked about bike in the neutral section if you haven't saw that as well. Also, just a little quick tip, if you've taken somebody's stock and bike is on the stage, just really quick, eat it. And if you don't have the bike off stage, you have to think about how you're playing with the bike on stage and whether or not you really need it for that lead trap. Alright, last but definitely not least, Waft. Waft is definitely Wario's best move. It gives him neutral. And neutral is the single most important thing, especially in a game like Ultimate. And just a really quick tip, the best way and most fast way to get Waft in training mode is to mash special flag and keep eating it. It's also really optimal to go 1.5 times speed while doing it, but I don't do that. Now there's a couple ways people choose to play against Wario. They choose to rush him down or they choose to camp him out. Either way, they're gonna get screwed. In neutral, Wario almost always has the advantage if the percents are even. If he has the Waft, he is in advantage. If he doesn't have the Waft, he's charging a Waft and it's going to get advantage if the opponent doesn't do anything about it. And that's why Wario's neutral is more campy than anything. He wants to get the Waft. And also, obviously, he doesn't have that good of approach options. Waft also does have combos and confirms into it, as you see here. And once you get into the good percent, you could combo them into Waft. Also, as you see right there, up tilt full Waft is still true. If you're looking on a video on how to do it, I've made one. Just scroll through my videos in the past. Also, I linked it in the description. Now, when you have no Waft, even if you're winning or losing, you should not be approaching. If you have a Waft, like a good, solid, strong half Waft or full Waft, still, don't get me wrong, do not approach. If you're losing by a good hard amount, then you're probably going to have to at some point. But you still want to be strategic about it and not go in recklessly. Wario's neutral is like him being a mosquito. He wants to run around you, do some sneaky little tricks, maybe get in on you a couple times and do massive damage. The massive damage of a mosquito's is way less than Wario's, but that's the only really wrong part of the analogy. Now, how do you hit the Waft? So, Waft is an interesting move to hit. You mostly just want to, play the video game, and if you catch their habits, you don't even have to get a confirm into it. You could just straight up do the Waft. If you start reading their rolls, you don't even have to do up tilt Waft. If you're not confident in it, just do Waft. And if you're not confident with up air Waft, even though you probably should be because it's pretty easy, don't do it. Just do a normal, regular Waft. You might be wondering, well, what if I just can't hit the raw Waft? Then you're just going to have to call out their options or learn out the tough combos. Other ways you can hit Waft is obviously just getting a hard read, calling out somebody's jump, calling out their roll, calling out their ledge option. It's pretty much just playing the video game. For example, you can cover roll get up with up air and up tilt, but preferably up tilt, and you can cover some neutral get ups with up tilts as well, both in which lead to Waft. You can also do a little trick that I like to do is start chomping their shields a lot, and normally what people do when they realize they're getting chomped is roll or jump immediately out of shield. What you can do then is jump and then up air early, or jump and then wait out up tilt, or go the other way to wait out both directions of roll. Overall, Wario is a good bait and punish character that relies on catching shields in neutral and punishing people hard. Once you've gotten the hit as Wario, it's a matter of execution and whether or not you can read your opponent to get some good damage or even a stock. Wario's air drift is also amazing, so make sure you're using that a lot throughout the game. Wario also has a phenomenal disadvantage with, again, good air drift and also good usage with bike. When Wario is making it back to the stage, he's good at going high as well as good going low. It just depends on the matchup. Using bike toss in neutral well is also really good to Wario's neutral plan if people are choosing to play defensively against him. Once you've gotten the hit as Wario, as I said, it's just a matter of reading your opponent and figuring out what their habits are. If you have no waft with Wario, you should definitely be camping to look for one. If your opponent is choosing to rush you down recklessly, make sure to try and intercept their approaches with early nairs, fairs, or grabs. However, if they're choosing to camp you back, then camp them back. Wario's camping is by far his most reliable strategy due to his good air drift and, of course, waft. Although, to throw some little silliness there, if you like having friends approach from time to time. But in all seriousness, it's good to approach with Wario from time to time, especially in friendlies. It's good to do this to figure out what you do when you're actually losing. When starting off a game, it's always important to start looking for people's shield habits and how to punish them with up throw, up air, or chomp. It's also important to practice Wario's combo routes and what he can do with them. It's always important to figure out how you're going to land the waft. It's also important to learn your combos through platforms. Now, if you're a beginner, don't try to do these, just go for the simple, easy stuff that'll get you an advantage win. However, if you're confident in pulling it off, please do it. Once you've gotten that advantage state win, it's good to learn how to lead trap them and edge guard them. Bike is always a good, reliable way where you can lead trap and edge guard them really easily. Also, don't forget to be careful with your bike placements. If you don't have a bike when you really need one, you might regret it. When lead trapping, be sure to try to cover the most options possible with the character you're playing and what you think their habits are. So yeah, that's pretty much all you gotta know for Wario. If you got any more questions on how to pull off his combo game, how to do really anything, go to the Wario Discord that I've also linked in the description. Their FAQ has pretty much every starter level Wario question on there, so if you still have a question about this video, go check it out. Otherwise, if you have a question for me, then feel free to comment on this video with your question and I might make a video about it. Well, that's it. This is how to play Wario. Now, this is easily the hardest video I've ever had to make, so if you want to make the YouTube algorithm happy for me, please do so. I'd really enjoy making more videos like these, especially if they were just a little bit, shorter. If you guys were to like and subscribe, that would probably show me that this type of content is good for me, and I'd start making more of it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks again for watching, and again, if you want a question touched up upon, feel free to comment down below, and if it's not in the Wario Chords FAQ, then I'll be happy to make a video on it. If it's in depth, then I can talk about it a lot. So yeah, I'd really appreciate it if you guys were to like, subscribe, all those YouTuber things, and see ya!